My name is Evelyn and I am 72 years old. For many years I lived a quiet, almost invisible life. After losing my husband 8 years ago, I withdrew from the world around me. The days blurred together in a slow, colorless routine, waking, eating, tending to my small garden, and watching television. My children had their own lives, distant both in miles and in time. I had accepted my solitude as a permanent state, believing that my chapter of purpose and joy had closed long ago. The house that William and I had lovingly built over 40 years was filled with memories, but it echoed with silence more than laughter. I was comfortable but deeply lonely. I told myself that this was the way life was meant to be at my age. Peaceful, uneventful, safe. Yet, there was a quiet ache beneath the surface, a yearning for something I couldn't quite name. One late autumn afternoon, as the sun cast a golden light over the fallen leaves, a knock came at my door. I wasn't expecting anyone. Standing on my porch was a man I had never seen before, holding a box that looked quite heavy. "Hello, I'm Thomas," he said with a warm, gentle smile. "I just moved into the house down the street, and I was wondering if you could help me with this?" I hesitated for a moment, feeling the unexpected flutter of nerves. But then, something inside me stirred, a reminder that I was still capable of kindness and connection. I nodded and took the box. Over the next few weeks, Thomas and I crossed paths often. He was moving into the old Caldwell place, restoring the house bit by bit with care and dedication. Sometimes I'd see him pruning his shrubs, painting shutters, or fixing the porch steps. Slowly, our conversations grew from polite greetings to meaningful exchanges. Thomas was not just a neighbor. He was a storyteller. He spoke of his travels, the people he'd met, and the lessons life had taught him. But more importantly, he listened. He asked about my garden, my late husband, and the stories behind the old photographs on my walls. For the first time in years I felt heard. One chilly morning, Thomas invited me over for tea. His home was warm and inviting, filled with books and soft light. As we sat together, sipping Earl Grey, he said something that changed the way I looked at my life. "Evelyn," he said, "sometimes we think our story is finished because the chapters look quiet. But that's when the most beautiful pages are waiting to be written." His words resonated deeply. That day, I realized that while grief had dimmed the colors of my world, it hadn't erased my capacity to live fully. I began to see my days not as empty, but as blank canvases waiting for new brushstrokes. Encouraged by Thomas's presence, I started taking small steps. I joined the local book club, where I met women who shared tales of travel, art, and courage. I reconnected with old friends I had lost touch with, sending letters and making phone calls. I took a pottery class at the community center, discovering joy in shaping clay as I shaped my new life. Thomas became a constant companion in this journey, not as a savior, but as a friend who inspired me to reclaim myself. We planted a small herb garden together, laughing as we muddied our hands. We shared dinners where stories and laughter filled the room, healing wounds I thought would never close. The most profound change was in me. I found strength in vulnerability and hope in new beginnings. I no longer feared the silence, for it was filled with possibility. The house I had thought was a tomb of memories became a sanctuary of growth. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the porch, I sat beside Thomas. We watched the sky turn shades of lavender and gold. "Thank you," I said softly. "For what?" "For reminding me that life doesn't end with loss. It changes, but it can still be beautiful." He smiled. "And you've reminded me that kindness and courage can heal even the deepest wounds. Now every morning I wake with gratitude. I garden with purpose, create with joy, and connect with an open heart. I am Evelyn. Not just a widow, not just a survivor, but a woman rediscovering the art of living. If you ever feel the weight of solitude or the shadow of grief, remember this. Life's most beautiful chapters often begin when we least expect them, with the simplest gestures and the most unexpected friendships. Because it is never too late to bloom again.